call to order. Please have roll call.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Chair, Tom Caffrey.
Here.
Amy Pyle. Here. Gary Collipoulos.
Here.
Helen Humphrey, she's still not here. William Biddulph.
Here.
Vernon is excused. Laura Murphy. Here. And Tim Kostidaskis is excused for today as well.
That was the closest. That was amazing. Good job. Nice. Nailed it.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Let's do the pledge. All right. Now, if everybody's had a chance to review the minutes, if we could get an approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-0. All right. Redevelopment staff report.
Good evening. So on their staff report, I have a few things that I need to add, but I'm going to start doing the staff report with I don't know if you remember on last meeting, we mentioned that we intend to put up some properties for sale. So in order for us to sell those properties, first we have to, per statute, we have to publish and let the public know that we are going to dispose those properties. So that's what the 30 days notice for 146 and 148 South Grandview was posted this week, Monday and Tuesday, Monday and yesterday. And then we're going to have the one for 34 South Grandview on July 9th and 10th. We request the appraisal for both properties. We have not yet received the report because we just requested. It's normally between 3 and 4 or 6 weeks. That's the timeline that they always give us. If it's before, I will let you know so you can see that report, that full report as well. Any question on that notice?
Yeah. I would, will you be accepting offers or bids on the property before the appraisal, or is there an official time when you'll put out a notice and say, okay, now we're accepting?
Well, we are accepting the submissions now. Mm-hmm. For 146 Grandview, they have until August 3rd to reply to that notice. And for 34 South Grandview is August 10th to reply, if they are interested. If we have any interest buyer, we have from now till August for them to say, yeah, we want to.
So one of the questions I have, it seems like the city, not just Daytona, just most cities do things a little bit backwards when it comes to appraisals. Usually, it's the buyer's responsibility to get an appraisal when they do things. So if they're to purchase the property and they want to buy the property, the buyer pays for the appraisal. The city seems to enjoy paying for appraisals. I don't know why that is. So in my experience as a real estate agent, I've done over $125 million in sales. I've never had a buyer not pay for the appraisal. And so one of my questions would be, is if we put these up for sale and they're interested in being for sale, why can't the real estate person that decides to do this, whether it's Ben as the attorney, the city attorney puts it up for sale as our real estate person, why can't we put that up as a number? They do what's called a comparative market analysis, or a CMA. They put it up for that. And then we look at the property from that perspective. And it's not an actual appraisal. but the property goes in based on hypothetical values. There's no cost accrued. There's no expense that needs to be done by the city other than putting a sign in the yard and an RFP out there.
You want me to answer that? Yeah. One of the things I want you to focus in on is that we're different from private industry, number one. And then we have 7 people that sit up here and say, what is the market value of that property? And we don't utilize our personal opinion about market value. So we go out and hire someone and pay for it so that we know what the market value of that property is. Now, the statute says we can sell the property at fair value, but the baseline is, what does the private industry, the private market, which is the appraisals, say that property is worth? So that's how we start.
And I completely agree with that. And so to that point, Larry Bartlett, who's I've been to multiple of his sessions, says that the property appraiser's assessed value that's on any property that's listed is roughly 20% less than the actual market value if it's not homestead. So that's his actual statement. So you could essentially, without an appraisal, look at the actual property value and assess the property that way based on our current property appraiser's number. So Larry Bartlett is on record. You could call him, you could, talk to his office. It's 20% above that value. So that's how they assess all of those properties. And that's following the 10% metric currently. There hasn't been any changes in the law yet, which might reduce that to 5%, but that's there. So I'm just, as a fiduciary in this position, looking at how things should be spent by the city and what we're spending money on, I think it's important that we're not wasting money on appraisals that don't need to happen. Because again, the value's already set and the market bears. A property right across the street sold for around $100,000 and it's the exact same footprint. So I again, I don't want to get in the weeds on it, but I just think that we shouldn't have to pay $400 or $500 for an appraiser, and that's bless you, and that isn't typically. I just don't understand that, because you don't pay it before. The only time you pay it for before is estate sales and other things where you have probate and other items that you're really trying to do that. In this, if we're trying to get fair market for the property and we're trying to do it from a standpoint of not underselling or trying to oversell, to just get it gone as quickly as we can for the right number, I think it just makes positive sense to do that.
It's very good, but I think that the reason what I was getting from Ken here is cities have to do it differently because they're held responsible to a different, higher standard than we are in real estate or development. In other words, my belief is, Ken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you make sense, though. I'm being honest with you. You make a lot of sense, but I'm thinking from a liability standpoint, I think that the city has to have it appraised, because the next thing you're going to say is there's going to be an argument, it was worth this much, that much, and they're going to see where the loss is. That way there's a third-party appraisal that it kind of releases the liability from the city to sell those things without having complaints, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Am I close?
Well, the last part of your statement is definitely spot on. You got a third party independent person who is evaluating a property that you're not taking staff's opinion, or you're not looking at what property appraiser, because there's varying opinions on what the value is based on what property appraiser says. You say 20%, someone else says 40%.
Well, it's not me.
I'm not going to sit here and debate what Bartlett's percentage of the value is. We hire a third party person to give us their professional opinion.
So you're doing that to protect the taxpayers' money? That's what I thought.
And I appreciate that comment, Will. Thank you so much. And now, with that
Makes
being
sense.
said, when you have a buyer that buys a property, they're not allowed to choose the appraiser unless it's a cash sale. So if that buyer decides to finance the property, it must go into what I like to call, and this is not a real thing, but I call it the wheel of appraisal. It basically means that the buyer goes in, I'm going to finance the land, we're going to do a contract, which is going to be a build to suit contract, they're going to have it, and they have to go through a process, and that lender, whether it's CMG, Wells Fargo, whatever it may be, they have to go there, and that bank spins a wheel, and a person not at the bank, that's not the buyer, actually gets the appraisal. And they do it by bid practice. And it's completely untouched process. The city can't choose it. The buyer can't choose it. Nobody can choose it. So it completely absolves everybody of anything. And so to me, that's far more transparent than anything.
So one of the issues is the fact that the contract doesn't become binding until the city commission approves the contract. It is during that due diligence period after the contract is signed that those types of activities occur. But in order to give the city commission a dollar value of what the property is worth, we have to have it before the due diligence period.
It's completely understandable. And it's so when we have like multi-million-dollar commercial contracts and things like that, a lot of them are subject to appraisal. And so what will happen is sometimes it will say in the contract that the seller is willing to pay for the appraisal on this if it doesn't appraise. Meaning if the value doesn't match contract price, the seller is willing to pay that number. If it does meet contract price, the buyer will pay that appraisal fee. So nobody is out that money. So I completely agree with what you're saying. It's just one of those things that it's a very legalese thing to do, and it doesn't make any sense to me why we're not doing it that way. We just save a lot of money that way, and we stop rather than one of the problems that I see with the city is they're doing $1,500 and $3,500 appraisals. I've got multiple $1 million properties myself. I have never paid more than $1,200 for an appraisal ever. And so Main Street, both my Main Street properties, I've paid $1,400 for surveys. I've never had to pay $3,500 for a survey. So my ultimate point is we're spending a lot of money on things that don't make sense. And I think if we made it more of a competitive bid process and made buyers responsible for those things and sellers responsible for those things, and we had it in the contract, the city could make a very knowledgeable decision on those things and not have to rely on other things. So again, I don't want to belabor this, but I think it's fantastic we're bringing all three of these properties to market. I just don't want the taxpayer to have to spend more money than they should have to spend.
Well, I like the idea of getting an appraisal first to set the price, but I do also, I didn't look, I don't know how much we pay for appraisals or if we use the same people every time, but I think a bid process, I think that's a good idea. I think we should get a good value. But it's not something we're going to decide on tonight. It's a policy thing with the city, and if we really feel strongly that that needs to change, then that's kind of something we have to deal with the manager and go that route, or appeal to the commission and say, change your policy kind of thing.
And all of our appraisals are competitively bid.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
We don't use the same appraisal.
all right. Well, I mean, I'm satisfied with that. I kind of like the idea of having a number ahead of time. But my one last question about, you said they have from the time it's posted in the newspaper until August 3rd to do what?
A proposal.
Okay, so what happens August 3rd? There's a cutoff.
It's closed. Yeah. And since we have, for example, we have somebody that is interested, I received already a proposal for 34 South Grandview. Mm-hmm. So if I don't have nobody that submit their proposal in that time frame, then we started negotiation with that person.
I understand. Okay, so
And this is just an example. I'm not.
okay, and if none come in, is it extended or?
Actually, what you mean for the Grandview one?
Any of them, I mean, if you weren't to receive,
Yeah, so the 30-day notice is the legislation it's the law that we
Right.
have to do before we lease property, before we sell property. So what that does, it helps us to get that time out of the way.
Okay.
Let's clear it up, because honestly, if we get 20 proposals, we can't do anything until that 30-day notice exceeds. So even if we don't have a proposal and we want to sell property, we go ahead and do our 30-day notice, because that's by law we have to do it. So after that 30 days is over, we can now accept any proposals. We can accept them in that 30 days, or we can accept it out of that 30 days. And if we don't, 6 months can go and we don't get any proposals. And at that point, we consult with our legal team and say, hey, look, we haven't gotten any proposals. If one comes in 12 months later, we may go back and talk to legal and say, do you think we ought to put another 30-day notice out? So you have to wait and see when you don't have something in hand already.
gotcha. So when the proposals come in, are they available for the public to view while you're making your decisions or negotiations, or is it?
We typically do not show those proposals until the 30-day notice is up, because that wouldn't give that
kinda
wouldn't be
makes-
fair to the person.
Right,
who,
and I understand that.
Well,
submit
I
it.
would actually have to determine what the public records law is on that. I don't see an exemption within the code, this statute for that, but there might be someone somewhere else, and so I would have to look at it. So it could be a possibility that it is subject to a public record.
Right, so if someone makes a proposal, then it can be viewed.
I don't know if there's an exemption for it or not.
Would it be possible to find that out?
Yes. I mean, I just can't do it right now.
No, I know, but I know you got a lot on your plate. But
Well, no,
is
no.
it
I just
something
mean,
you could
I just
look up
mean
for
that
us?
that because the exemptions for public records are spread out through the statute, it's not listed in this specific
I got you.
section on the 30-day notice, but there may be something in Chapter 119 or under Chapter 166, and so I'll just have to look for it, because it could be in many places.
I'd be curious if you find that out. Thanks. That's all I got.
Anyone else? Nope.
No, I feel we hit all the important spots. I do agree with you on a lot of things, and I think I'm just excited about everything moving forward and being positive. So let's hope we get those properties moved.
I have
Go
one more
ahead.
question. You thought I forgot about this one. So here's have you? And I know I'm bringing it up again. Have you ever gotten a quote on replacing the retaining wall in front of the vacant section there?
When I started, and I provide that to the city manager, when we started doing all the repairs that we repaired the leaning walls and everything, it was $18,000 to do that retaining wall. And I provide that quote to the city manager for his record. Since that time, we haven't got any other estimates, because we said, okay, let's prioritize. We need to do the siding, we need to do the roof,
Right.
we need to repair the retaining wall that was leaning to your property.
Right.
So, we kind of set that aside. I have not done any more estimates right now.
Well, $18,000 seems like a crazy number, and I'm glad you didn't do it. I spoke to a concrete contractor. Now that price may have been to match the brick wall that's in front of the other house, but a simple concrete structure that would hold the dirt back from rolling onto the brand new sidewalk that's just been laid there, and the dirt is about this high behind the sidewalk. So once we get a storm or two, it's going to wash out. $3,000. So maybe it's a consideration before it gets sold, or I looked at that and I was almost like, can I do it on a weekend, But we're going to hold ourselves back. And I would like you to consider that I think it will really, and if it's painted white to match the other, I think it will really benefit the area to have that spot.
Did they give you the quote? Did the contractor give you the
It
quote
was
on?
verbal.
Well, let's get it in writing. Let's see if we can
Well,
raise some money.
I'm leaving it up to the city. If
Unless it's in writing,
someone
it
wants
doesn't.
to ask me about it, I'll happily
Absolutely.
give information.
It's not
Yeah.
right.
Thank
All
you.
the maintenance work are done through Public Works, and we can request again.
No, we've already got a quote,
Yeah.
and it was not approved to make any changes.
Right, but that was $18,000.
Yeah.
Okay, this, actually, I'll tell you, I mean, full disclosure, it's not really a secret, but I spoke to the concrete contractor that's working there right now for Public Works. And he also spoke to the inspector that was on site. And when he said they weren't gonna replace it, he said it would be $3,000, so. New information.
And
Do with it what you will.
we'll end this as quickly as we can and move on to utility boxes. But I am on board with all of those things. For what I don't know how we maybe streamline the city's process better, but for whatever reason or another, we need like $1 million of I forget what the policy is called, but they have to have some sort of like astronomical number as a small company to do a small job. And I'm blanking on it right now. I'll come up with it later when it doesn't matter. I'll be in the shower or something and it'll hit me.
Are you referring to the payment and performance bond?
That sounds right. Yes.
They're not required for projects under 100,000.
Okay. So maybe is that in RFPs? Do we put that in RFPs? Because when I've looked at RFPs before, it still
there's-
kind of mentions that.
Well, RFPs and bids are two different things. For the type of work that you're talking about, it's more than likely a bid. And it is in there that if the problem is we don't know what the value of the project's going to be until we get the bids. So
Agreed.
So it's in there that for projects under 100,000, bid payment and performance bonds are not required.
Yeah. So when that, I think that's probably the problem. Maybe on our IT site or something like that, we could maybe look at the ones that are under 100 grand, not having that wording in there to just not even have it. Meaning, I think there's a lot of local contractors that are licensed and insured that are doing great work here for the community, that if we don't have that wording in there, that maybe we get these projects done at a reasonable number rather than having somebody that has these large contractors that require those big numbers to continue doing their staff, right? It's not they're wrong, not that their number's bad.
So we recently did a RFP for a small projects construction manager that will be handling those types of small projects. So we did put it in. I want to say that bid or that RFP received over 20 responses.
Awesome.
So it's
Awesome.
so that should take care of it. But again, it's the projects that are at the 90,000 that we think is going to be 90,000, and all of our bids come in at 100,000, over 100,000. So that's why we have to say that only for projects under 100,000, the bid is
Makes perfect sense.
Not required.
Thank you for the clarification on that. Thank you so much. And then we just missed the utility boxes. Hi.
But I just want to clarify. The quote was for 16,143, not 18, 16.
Well, okay, thanks.
And so the utility boxes are their printing company is in production. There is a slightly change of order because we happen to have a small utility boxes next to ones that are bigger, so they had to change that. We're waiting for purchasing department to provide us with the change of order. And as soon as we got that, I assume, hopefully, that in 2 weeks, we will have all the first part of the utility boxes ready.
Awesome.
And I also have some other reports that I would like to share with you. This morning, we did a staff walk at the Beachside. And we're going to do that throughout the city. We started on the Beachside. We divided in groups. It was code enforcement. In each group, there was a code enforcement officer because that was the intent of the walk. Identified potential problems, code violations. My group, I had, it was Dennis from planning, building official, and a code officer. And we kind of identified 25 properties that they're going to start citing those properties because they have code violations. Michelle Group had 10, and Ken another 10. So this is an effort to, all staff, city departments to see what's going on and report to code enforcement. And again, we are going to do that throughout the city. I don't know what is the next area, but I will let you know so you can be on the lookout for that. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you is I know that have been conversation about having lightings on Main Street all year round. And it's been conversation that the utility is not good, the electricity is not good, and all the things. So we were looking at the option to have solar lighting wrapped on all the light poles from Ocean Ave all the way to Halifax Avenue. We have we do always everything through Public Works because they have the ones who have the contracts and everything. So we started that process, but then Frank told me that there is a possibility that we can wrap some lighting on the poles and connect it to the outlet, right? So I just wanted to let you know that we're working on that, and we have also the option to have different colors. He was asking me, what colors do you want? White, red, and blue. And, I just wanted to hear from you what you prefer. You would prefer all white, or you prefer what colors? We were thinking green, red, and white. So it can be holiday. We can use it for the holiday. But I just want to hear your opinion.
So when you say green, red, and white, that would mean each individual light has the chance to change from 3 colors, or this one's white, this one's red, this one's green. Okay.
Yeah. Because the option that changing lights, the color, it was, I asked for that as well. But he said that normally they are not good, good doable. So, he prefer if we're going to pay for that, that we pay for something that is just one color and we know that it's going to last.
I'll say, my vote would be, like a white or a blue or a red. I don't care, or green. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think white stands out. It's the cleanest. It looks the best all the time. It's Christmassy. It's 4th of July. It's Biketoberfest. It's Bike Week. It's all of the things.
It's classy.
It is classy. So for me, my color would be the white light,
All white.
All white.
Yeah.
Or even if it's that whatever yellow color that's almost white, I'm also fine with that, but
soft white.
Yeah, the soft white. But whatever it is, I love the idea. Good job.
And it will be on the light poles, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have no hanging cables, so we don't have the problem that we had before with the Christmas light. If we have light on the poles, we're going to have lights on those string lights. However, yeah.
Don't hold it against me. But I like red, white, and blue. I'm patriotic. I love the veterans. I love my police. I'm a patriot, so I would always say red, white, and blue. I love this country, and I love Daytona. So
if I understand correctly, just the light poles, not the trees.
That's correct. Just
How many light poles are there?
Public Works is counting. So
I think there's 60 roughly.
probably.
Yeah,
Because remember, it's
one of the other problems that you have though is Dave Waller at Public Works has said that, especially on the east side of A1A, those poles and the electric there have some major issues, right? And they constantly blow. And the low light poles that we're not thinking about that are ground level, the homeless people plug into those, and what happens is they blow the entire circuit, especially when you overload it with more lights. So that is one of the things that we talked about as far as redoing the street, why it's important to redo the street. So one of the things maybe we look at on this is with those low light poles, capping those, yeah, they have low outlet, like they literally, you can lay on the ground and plug right in.
You can't put them up high?
Well, so my point with the low ones, they're just low, like low level. Maybe we take and talk to Public Works about capping those plugs. There's no need for those plugs, right? So that would stop the homeless from charging on those. And so you eliminate that, and then you just put the little cap on it and screw it, and it's done, and set it, forget it. And that may help the maintenance issues of losing all the lights on the street.
I agree with that's pretty smart.
I'd like to put in a vote for the bright LED lights rather than the warm ones, just because I think that safety, and it seems festive and like you can see things.
Definitely prefer the electric over the solar, because I don't think we're going to get our money's worth from the solar. There's just no longevity
That's true.
to those particular lights. 3 years and you're replacing them.
Yeah.
If that.
Thank you.
You guys rock.
Thank
you for
you.
that. That's awesome, Angela. All right, moving on to old business. Is there any old business that we're talking about?
I have a question. After reading through the minutes, I remember, we had a presentation about the National Folk Festival, and there was going to be a letter written. Who writes that letter? It is. Okay. It's all done. That we recommended it? That we would like it? Okay.
Yeah, it's been done. And one of the things, so that was going to be one of my things about old business is I really, I don't ultimately care where it happens, but I would really push more for Beachside rather than Mainland. There's going to be so much construction happening over the next 2.5 years on Beach Street between the Main Street to Bay Street construction with narrowing that. There's only one stage in all of that area, and that's on Manatee Island. Beachside, just Boardwalk, has 3 available areas for stages. You have obviously the band shell, and then you have Breakers Park, and then you also have the large empty lot where the city already works things out with the Anderson Group to store equipment. So it seems like they have a good deal with them. And then you have 4 additional stages that they require. So they want 7. So I think you could do those additional 7 down Main Street or in the Ocean Center parking lots. That area has lost so many buildings and so much stuff over there that it's made for this type of event. And when you go down that street during Bike Week, Biketoberfest, New Year's Eve, it looks thriving. It is one of the best looking streets in all of this community because there's people, there's action, there's vendors, there's all of those things. And that's what that street was designed. Teresa Doan did a great job of knocking all the things down to make it that way. All of the other people did that in order to knock everything down and make it look that way. And so now we have the ability to do that. And so we're going to have a pilot program that we have to invest $500,000 as a community into. And if we can lobby to have it over there, I think it would be much better suited. And then talk about shuttling people. All of the businesses that say that we can shuttle people from Beachside. Well, Beachside supposedly has 0 parking. Well, Mainland has all of the parking. You have all of those businesses behind there. You have City Island Library. You have at least 3,500 parking spots. The last I counted on Beachside, you have about 2,250 to 2,500. And so there's a lot more parking on there. Plus, you have the church lot that was demolished. You have all of the other spots over there that have that. The only things that are going to be under construction, like I said, are Beach Street, and behind Popeyes are the next new developments. So I think if we could lobby for that, I think it's a better location for it. I don't necessarily need anything out of that, but I think that is part of our old business, and I wanted to bring it up.
Well, as much as I agree with you, and I really am an advocate for Beachside, I think that the CVB is already plug and played with Beach with Beach Street. But after 3 years, Daytona gets it. And so then we can control it and move it to where it's better suited. So look in the future, I think.
Any other old business?
I think we've talked about this as old business. I think my friend Ann Ruby had brought this up some time ago about trying to create some kind of tram along with a parking garage. I was just emailed, actually, when I was sitting here, which I later like to bring up with the city. But I would like to see a tram that's able to bring people, because I don't know if you've been, and I'm not just because you're here, because I actually like your place. He has a brewery that you can go to. There's all kinds of nice businesses. What I'd like to do is create a tram and tram people all around the city to help feed the businesses here year round. Because you got a lot of people that, everybody thinks everybody on Main Street's making all this money. Well, they make money once or twice out of the year, and the rest of the year we seem to suffer, because I know I do on East ISB. So I'd like to see us moving towards something so eventually when we do build out the boardwalk, we'll have something to tram people to the boardwalk if there's not enough parking. I think we just need to feed our businesses a little bit better right now. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. All right. That's the end of old business, so we'll move on to public comment. Drum roll for who's on deck first. Imagine that. John, come on up, sir. John speaking on item number 5 here and number 7. So we'll give you a little liberty here, okay?
Okay, John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. On 5, in 2008, we pulled those properties off the market because there was a downturn in the economy. We were supposed to put it back on the market. We went almost 20 years not putting it on the market when we could have, and at least 4 different times, sold it almost immediately. Now that the market is not there, interest rates are very high, we're not going to get the amount of money that we could have gotten had we been on top of this. Why you gave away 2 properties in the last year, free of charge, I don't understand. You gave away 2 properties on the Beachside. One just 2 blocks from here, next to Jenny Nazak, was given away free. Right down Grandview was another lot that you gave away free. I don't like the idea that you gave them away free. I wish you would have had a discussion on it, but apparently you chose to give it away with no discussion. This is a bad time to sell.
Just real quick, previous boards had.
No, it was.
It wasn't, I was not. We never brought that in front of us.
Never.
At all. Never even heard about it. I was furious about it. So it was never brought in front of us.
But it was decided when you guys were here.
Didn't know that.
All right. I didn't either until after it was done. Secondly, with regard to the papers in front of you, the smaller one of the 2, it was an advertisement of what to do on the World Cup, where to go, where to see the event. You'll notice there's 3 of them on Beachside, or 3 of them in Daytona Beach. One is out at Tangier Outlet Mall. One is by the airport, and the 3rd one is on Seabreeze. There's circles: food, liquor, 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 more liquor, 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 liquor. We have 13 establishments on Main Street that have liquor for sale. They also have televisions. None of them decided to have anything for this event. Look at the larger sheet of paper, and at all the venues, they would not allow tailgating because they wanted to sell things and have events. So all of the stadiums for the World Cup, these people couldn't tailgate, they had to go somewhere else. My suggestion is there's a property on Wild Olive, right across from Dirty Harry's and Bank and Blues, with a great big huge wall, blank wall, that we could put a screen on, 40 by 40, 50 by 50, whatever the largest screen we can get. And for those events on the left-hand side, the Super Bowl. Teresa Doan had it for 3 years. She got like 15, 20 people for the event. The Oyster Pub on Seabreeze had hundreds of people inside and outside, and you couldn't get in. We need to start having events on Main Street. I listed a bunch of them there that would easily, Fab Four, people want to see the playoffs. People want to see the tennis tournament, the golf tournament. All of these have playoffs. If we had a huge screen, we as a city, CRA, pays for the screen. We ask the gentleman who owns that bar if we could put it on his building. We can lease the land from the county because the county owns that lot, except for 2 times a year, Bike Week and Biketoberfest. So we could put an outside area of tables and chairs for people to watch on a huge screen. That business would make a ton of money serving beer and wine. All right? We have to do something, and I think this would be a great idea to bring bodies to Main Street. Once you have bodies on Main Street, they will go to the other bars. Within 100 feet, there's 3 other bars. Back and Blues is across the street, Dirty Harry's, Full Moon Saloon,
John,
all of those.
next
So,
item.
well, if you give me the 5 minutes, the other 5 minutes. So anyway, that's the crux of the 2 things that are sitting in front of you.
John.
Next item. Next item. You had
Thank you,
item
John.
7 also.
Public comment.
So all of that's all the same. So everything's done. All right.
Yeah, because I had to cut it real short.
You got it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And thank you for always coming up there and being dedicated and showing up to almost every meeting that I'm at. Actually, even when I go to this city commission meetings and neighborhood meetings, I see you there. And thank you for the dedication
It's
to
awesome.
our great city, John, because I don't know too many people that have your integrity, and you're just a wonderful human being. Thank you.
Okay. I hope you take a look at that and think about it. Thank you.
Appreciate the effort on that, John. All right. So no more public comment, and we will go to board comments. And last time we started on the right, we're going to go start on the left this time. So Laura, you're up.
Ooh, okay. Well, a couple things. Since we didn't have a very long meeting, I felt like I could say a couple things. I wanted to say that I've seen huge improvement with the Cruising Cafe since it hasn't been on the market. Now that they're putting money back into it, and they've got signs and paintings, so really think that's added a lot to the area. 4th of July parade was phenomenal, wonderful attendance. It was a really great family time. It was hot. It was very hot. It was very hot. And then also the fireworks and people on the pier, it was packed, and I felt safe and clean, and that it was just a really good family fun event that went off without a hitch. I did notice that there were banners on the pier, which I'd love to see more of, or figure out how that happens and create the pier to look not so junky. Main Street's been super active. The Rum Fest was great. And so that was, I heard there's good news about a coffee shop opening up and new owners. So it's really great to see businesses open during those events. However, on regular nights when we take walks down, there's lots of shuttered doors and businesses, although they're looking better. I just wasn't sure if there was a way to incentivize them being open, or how we can help have businesses open year round. So didn't know. I just moving that up. And then I was wondering what was going on, if there was a parking app. I know that we'd kind of talked about that or mentioned it at one point. I guess maybe that was old business time to talk about that. So talking about there's lots of parking. I did notice on 4th of July, there was a city parking lot that was partially empty. And I think that's because people didn't know they could park there. And the last thing I wanted to say is that's awesome about the code walk, or I don't know what you're calling it, where the staff is walking around. Fabulous. I wish I'd weeded my front yard and made it look better, but thanks for doing that. And I think that's awesome. That's all.
Thank you. Will?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it's been an interesting year so far. I've seen a lot of beautiful development getting started, and I just want to say that code enforcement is doing a great job so far this year. I love Denzel Sykes. He got a nice award at the last city commission meeting. I was there. And sometimes we get angry with the police, but we got to realize all the stuff they deal with. I think it was about a month or so ago, there was a car that had an AR-15 in it. It misfired, shot through a battery, and caught on fire in a vacant lot. The police dealt with that. Every day the police put their lives on the line for us, and I think we should just be a little bit nicer to them at times. As with business, I think that for Main Street, I really, really believe in that tram system. I think that tram system will work. I don't think it could be done for free. I do have a company I'm talking to, which I'm going to reach out to Angela and Ken, and hopefully they can help me close the deal on them. I think it's going to really help because I really enjoy, I'm not a big drinker, but I will go out and have a beer, and I really enjoy his bar. He has really nice craft beer. And I suggest that people, go there and support our local businesses and bars, because it's not just a bar when you go out to a place. It's more of a, I don't know, it's, I can't explain it but it's a very comfortable place when you see your friends invest their lives into our community. So my suggestion is, let's get that boardwalk going if we can, but let's get the low-hanging fruit, and let's just start moving forward. Even if it's crawling one step at a time, let's keep crawling until we can start walking, jogging, then running. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Will. We're going to do ladies first over here, so go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. I did have a question about the banners. I saw a couple of banners. One was for the 4th of July event, and it's specified up on the roof at Joe's Crab Shack. Was that something that the city paid for, or did Joe's purchase a banner to put there, or who? How does that work?
I don't have information about that. I just happened to have somebody that asked me about putting some advertisement on the pier, and the business enterprise manager, which is Michael Stallworth, he told me that right now we don't have any program in place. We only put those banners from the Peabody or city events. So that's something that we will have to find out. I don't have
because
any more
the event,
information.
because it specified the roof, which is a private company.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
So you don't know how those, like, who hung those banners or who paid for them? Really?
Michael Stallworth will.
Okay, the enterprise.
Yes,
Oh,
business
boy.
enterprise
Okay.
manager.
Well, I think I guess the crux of the issue is, if we can have a banner there, we can have more banners there. And I think, you're saying Peabody and a city event, but that was for a private location. So I think we should be encouraging more banners. We had talked about it before, murals. I'd love to see sponsored murals, and in the corner it could say, Beach Express sponsored this mural or something, and so they get a little advertising, but also we have an approved art on the side. That would be awesome. But in the meantime, banners are good as long as they're kept nice and they're not flapping around. But all those people on the beach seeing those, I think it's a, it would be great to have that colorful accent there. Is there any move on the parking app, or consolidation of the parking, or the park? We'd talked about this for a long time, kind of getting the parking thing, in the Main Street area coordinated a little bit. No, nobody's kind of doing anything on that.
Michael Stallworth managed parking.
We need to have him come to our meeting.
Definitely.
I'm okay. Put that on the list. And then my last comment is about something everybody loves. At least they should. Kitty cats. Beachside, I'm sure the whole Beachside is experiencing this. In Surfside Village, we do have a large number of kitty cats roaming around. Some of us work on trapping in order to neuter them and re-release them. I'm fortunate enough to have a 3 now that we have trapped and neutered that stay around my house, and I feel like they kind of keep the others away. So we and consider them our cats, and we care for them. And and it seems like we're not having an influx. But other areas, there's cats and there's fights and there's kittens everywhere. So I just kind of want to make up, like a public call to anybody listening that there are people doing trap, neuter, release, and you can, if anybody wants to contact me, I'd be happy to assist with that. But then on the heels of that, I want to say I do not think that feeding on the sidewalk is a good idea. And number one, I've had somebody come through a couple of different times and put food out either on my street right by my house or even on my property, like leave cat food. And to me, if it's unsupervised cat food, it could have bugs, other vermin, which I won't mention either one of those, but nobody wants those around. It's not always the cats that eat them. And also it interferes with the trapping, because we need them, frankly, we need them hungry to get them in the traps. So I looked in the ordinances. There's an ordinance about trash and littering, and I have a question for the police department. I don't know if that's something that you can answer, or I wasn't sure if we were going to have a spot, but is it realistic to ask that if individuals are seen placing cat food on sidewalks, like they feel like they're taking care of a colony or something, but these people come in from other neighborhoods. They're not even, like, if I was putting out food, it would be in a little dish on my porch, and at nighttime it comes in. It's responsible. But if people are placing cat food on the sidewalks in someone else's neighborhood, to me that's littering. And I'd like to know if there's a way to either get maybe in certain areas where it's really bad, a sign posted saying cat food on sidewalks is a violation of ordinance, or any ideas that people might have about that, because I just think it's rude and awful for someone to come into my neighborhood and throw food on the sidewalk. I'll just say that's it. So anybody's comment, fine, I'm done. Thank you.
I definitely want to commend the new captain on the Beachside. I don't know if people have ventured back on the Beachside in the last month or two. She has done a phenomenal job of cleaning up the Beachside. That is one of the most single-handed, most effective ways of making a difference on the Beachside. Congratulations on whose ever idea the code walk was. That's fantastic too, because you're tackling our problem from multiple perspectives. Hopefully, considering the banner on the pier, that's lost revenue. We should be looking at maybe bringing some more people interested in advertising on that. And at the same time, we should include something that I've mentioned before about advertising our local events at the band shell, things at the Ocean Center, stuff like that. That would be nice for visiting tourists to actually, be informed on. A lot of people, they don't know half the stuff that's going on. And if we could do something like that on the pier, and then maybe on the crosswalk over leading from the parking to the ocean walk, single-handedly, you'd be able to inform 80% of the people who are visiting what's going on here, because that would just improve attendance at all these events. So we're moving in the right direction. Excellent.
And Mr. Chair, if you allow me to make a comment.
Of course.
On the pier, I just remember we had a conversation with our public work director about that, the banners and the murals. And the public works is anticipating doing a huge repairs on the pier. So that white plywood is coming off. So I will say, hold on a second, until he repairs everything on the pier and see what he's going to put on in place of the plywood. Because we don't want to mess with his, but he did mention that he's going to do those improvements.
What's the timeline on that?
I think he needs to put a bid on that, if I'm not mistaken, and it's approximately $1 million of improvements on the pier.
Nice.
In the meantime, I think businesses could put it, that's going to be months. I'm just saying,
If it's over a year.
I don't think we should toss the idea of having banners advertising just because of that, even if they're
Well,
going
I
to,
think
it's a
there's
banner, it's not a
safety
mural.
I think there's an issue about the safety factor of the pier and having people on the pier or putting things on the pier. So I think there's more to it than just
Complicated.
because it's more complicated.
Okay.
Well, it's,
So like it's unsafe to put the banners up, or
There's some issues with the pier that they're having to do some major repairs, and to have things attached to the pier, even if it appears to be minor to us, under, and every time there's a storm, they would have to come down, and so I think there's a bigger picture that we have to look at.
just curious that the roof was able to advertise over 4th of July.
Well, we don't know that was how that was done. This department is not involved in that. We don't know what type of arrangement, if any, was made. So, right.
Thank you, Gary, for that. So I've got a list, so please bear with me. I've had some time off and get to sit in front of a vacation in a pool. So please, number one, I want to mirror what Gary said. The police have absolutely been crushing it on Boardwalk and Beachside. Kim Gerner and her team it's impressive. I mean, my family went there over Memorial Day weekend, and there was an entire pop-up table of people showing up that were out of area residents, likely putting up coffee, water, bags of clothes, ding-dongs, ho-hos, all the things in a public park or at the Harvey. So it's a parking lot without paying for the parking lot and sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour with 30 to 50 homeless people waiting in line for them. I haven't seen it since then. And I'm there every morning between 9 and 10:30. And so it's been phenomenal. There used to be a guy that set up right at the Main Street Beach approach with the very similar thing, different person altogether. That guy doesn't show up anymore. So the police department's doing a phenomenal job of not allowing people to be part of that. And they need to be commended beyond belief. This is so great to have back. It's been gone since 2016. That's a huge time frame to have that department gone. And I think that is part of the reason why we had so many problems there. The banners were part of my thing here. So the banners on the fence. So the banners were posted on the city fence for the roof. The banners were posted on the actual pier for the roof. Whether they're done through Michael Stallworth or by hook or by crook, those things need to be addressed at a city level, and they need to be fined, or they need to be accommodated through funds. And so in my opinion, no banners should be up. It should all be painting. And it shouldn't have to wait until we replace the plywood. We should just throw paint up. It's historic. That's what we always did. And we stopped doing it at some point. I don't know the actual date. I couldn't tell you the date. Maybe it's when beach driving went away. Maybe it was 2005, 2006 when all the advertisers went away after spring break left in 2004. I don't know which one it is. So there could be a lot of that similarity, but I think that needs to come back. I don't think we should hang banners at all on the beach. And also, I'd like to know if those banners have to be at the same level of quality that they need to be everywhere else in the city. I think that that's important because it took us, I say us, I've been on the committee for the July 4th parade for a very long time now. It's been around for 6 years. And we finally got July 4th banners down Main Street. And the only reason we got those banners is because, thank you to Janet Kersey at the Chamber, she gave me the avenue and how they get them for Bike Week. And so I presented that to you guys. You guys did a great job of getting that up there. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Everybody loved it. Placement was a little off, but that's okay. They looked fantastic. Leading into the parade was the most attendees we've ever had as far as actual groups that were there. Usually it's in the low 30s. I think we had 45 or 47 actual parade people walk through the thing, groups. I estimate there was somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 people. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it looked like to me. I know at least on my block, we had between 300 and 400 people, and it was definitely packed. It was awesome. Patriotic flags everywhere. the vibe was exactly what we're looking for, as it's always been. It just seemed like there were more people this year. Public Works put up in front of Dirty Harry's, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this, but several months ago, they put up right in front of Dirty Harry's a little planter that hangs there. So they manufactured kind of a little rig, if you will, to hang planters on the light post. And they're checking the level of quality and making sure that it's something that can sustain the beachside environment. If you get a chance to go by Dirty Harry's, take a look at it. I think it looks phenomenal. That's one of the little things that probably doesn't cost a ton of money. They're already out there watering the plants, doing their thing. This is just another little arm extension to make sure they don't die, and looks good. But I think they look great. I went to Orlando for a little brief vacation, 3 days, and noticed the sidewalks. They cleaned them every 2 days. And they didn't just pressure wash them. They use an actual sanitary cleaner to clean them. I don't know what we're using, but I know that the city pressure washes Main Street during major events, as I've been there at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning on a bike week, Biketoberfest, July 4th, when they actually do it. I have never seen them use a professional cleaner. Maybe they are, but I've never actually seen them use one. And it could be that they are, but maybe we look into seeing if that, I know there might be some environmental reasons because everything drains right into the sewers there. So maybe there's a reason why we're not using them, but I think that's something that could be because they have similar surfaces to us, and I think they could look at that. Sign at Breakers. So the one thing I heard about Breakers Park, where the splash pad is that the motors and engines are constantly failing. Well, that's obviously because, number one, it's just a big fountain. It's not even really a splash pad. It's just a huge fountain. But I see people washing their boogie boards, their surfboards, their feet, all the different things they're washing in there. Maybe we could put up some signs saying, please don't wash your feet, don't wash your surfboard or equipment, whatever. Maybe we could post a few of those around there. Not that it'll 100% stop it, but maybe a few signs might help us with that, because those holes are so large and the fountains are so big, you get a lot more sand than you would get if it was a closed loop system like a lot of the other parks that are out there. Cheers to 150 years. That's coming up July 25th. That's a conjunction event between Main Street Merchants, Al Smith Productions, and the city of Daytona Beach. It's going to be
And Main Street Sierra.
And Main Street Sierra. Well, we consider you the city, gang. So that's cheers to 150 years. They're going to be doing a lot of cool things. They're going to be doing a cool party cake coming out until the cake's gone. They're going to have that. Going to have the kids zone. Going to have food trucks. Hopefully we'll have banners. It's July 25th. Hopefully we'll have banners. I asked Katie about that. I don't know if Katie's in Parks and Rec, if you don't know that, but I've talked to Katie to try to mirror what we did July 4th. Hopefully we can get them up 2 weeks before the event rather than 5 days before the event. If we can do that, that would be amazing, because 2 weeks is usually the time you need to have things up, especially when that would give us 2 weekends of having cool banners up on that. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of check on was the one-way streets. I know we made the recommendation on that. Haven't heard about it. I brought it up at the city commission meeting. They hadn't heard about it. I brought it up, what was that, last week? And so they didn't know about it yet. So if we're sending that recommendation up to them that we voted on, or we asked to go to the commission as a vote.
It won't come from our department. It has to go through Public Works.
I'm sure it has to go through Public Works to have the decision ultimately made, but the recommendation to go to the commission is what was voted on.
When was it voted on?
Last meeting?
I wasn't there. It was voted on.
No, here. They
I got you. So what Angela is telling you is that you can make a recommendation for one-way street, two-way streets, and we give that to Public Works. And it's up to Public Works to determine if that is something that they're going to assess, they're going to study, or even make a recommendation to the City Commission.
And I understand that, but it's staff sending something else to staff. We recommended it go to the commission. We didn't recommend it to go to Public Works. So I understand Public Works has the ultimate authority on making that decision, and they're ultimately going to find out if it's safe for the public. But we recommended it go to the commission for a look at it, not to vote on it on that day, but then they make, because we're an advisory board. We don't have the ability to force anybody to do anything, but we have the recommendation. And so this board recommended it to go before the commission and not to Public Works. Now, Public Works the commission, as we all know, will bring up whoever it is in Public Works that's there that evening, say, hey, what do you think of this? And that person, whoever it might be, comes up and gives their opinion on it. Do we need to put down stop strips or whatever they're called to check the traffic counts? Do we need to do all these different things throughout the city or not? And so the recommendation by this board was to send it to commission, not to staff. And that's a big difference in the two things.
Well, I can tell you this: I will not miss words with you. If you want to send it to City Commission as the chairman of this board, you have the ability to do that. But I can tell you that any recommendation that's outside of the redevelopment purview, we send it to the individual departments, and that individual department head consults with our city manager before anything goes to the City Commission.
And that may be well and good. Maybe, it's more of an attorney question. If the board votes on sending something directly to the commission as an advisory position, we're not saying they have to do it. We're not saying it needs to be done. We're recommending that it be done. Isn't it the city commission's job to then direct staff to find out if it's capable? Because we are not able to do that.
That is correct. You cannot direct staff, and that is one of the conundrums of your type of board and these individuals. They work for the city manager. The city manager has directed that when things come up that is not within their purview, that they give it to the department that it goes to. What Ken is saying is that if you want, as the chairman of this board, and the board votes to authorize you to go speak before the board as a representative of this board, you could ask for an item to be put on the agenda regarding the one-way streets.
Okay. Well, we did. Essentially, I'm happy to make an additional motion, but that's what we did. We voted on it. It was there.
You would need to do the actual agenda item. It would be this board's agenda item. It would not be coming through staff. So you would need to develop the agenda item and give it to the staff to have it added to the agenda of the commission.
All right. So,
That's an important item.
Again, I just hate busy work, and so as a person, I don't understand it's always been a downfall and maybe a positive of my own. I've never understood busy work. Busy work's weird to me. So would someone like to make a motion to do that and word it in their own words?
I can make a suggested motion that then
I love that.
member could. So the board would move to authorize the chair to represent the board before the city commission in offering the suggestion of changing certain one-way streets back into two-way streets, and to ask the chair to create and request the agenda item to be placed on the city commission agenda.
That sounds amazing.
I would like to make a motion that our chair
you can say it, if you don't want to do it exactly what I said, you can do it as recommended by the.
Oh, thank God. I would like to make a motion that, as recommended by Kira, I make a motion that we do that.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, we got a second by Gary. Any discussion? We'll probably need a public comment first before discussion. Yep, let's do that.
Oh, before.
Yeah, public comment first. Yeah. Anybody public comment? Oh my God, look at that. This one was so good, John decided to stay seated. Okay. All right, so any discussion up here?
I'll just ask quickly, do you feel that there needs to be something outlined for as an agenda, if it's going as an agenda item on the city commission agenda, that it should have some specifics about what streets, or is it enough for him to come up and share the details personally?
The actual written agenda item probably should provide more information. The more information you can provide ahead of time in writing, the better, but it would not necessarily have to be in there. Just, something, just whatever the chair.
So essentially, he's going to write an agenda item and submit it to
the city clerk.
All right, that's.
All right, so in last month's meeting, there were some streets mentioned. I'll make sure to have those on there. That's what the board voted on. The streets, and again, it's very blurry because I don't have glasses, but it's Ocean, let's see, Ocean Avenue, the little area that's there, and then the left-hand turn lane onto Ocean. Is that right? No, that's not it. That's the wrong one. Apologize. Hang on one second. It just has the motion on here. Yeah, it just has it. Never mind. It just says a motion was then made by Ms. Humphreys and seconded by Mr. Bittorf to request the city commission study traffic patterns and evaluate converting selected one-way streets back to two-way operating. Motion doesn't really have much more than that. So anyway, yes, I will do that. So we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right. And that concludes everything I have to say. Thank you so much. And we're out of here just 12 minutes late for a small meeting. Thank you.